Saturday. I think it's around 3 p.m. I'm not planning on spending all too long here. Just gonna kind of take a walk through. Eventually we'll stop filming this. I guess maybe when it stops evolving, I'll stop filming it. But till then, I think I'll just at least check in once a day just to see what's going on. It's pretty easy for me. I live right near here. Yeah, there's like zero stuff. Not even tent remains in the Rancho Bravo now. Security guys appear to still be completely gone. Art on the on this border. Oh, no, I guess that's the same. It's just super empty looking here. And some bleachers up over there. Yeah, the community meeting today is supposed to be at like 5, but I'm definitely gonna miss that one today. This is all just totally clear right here. Still got the conversation cafe over there. No one there, but there's no covers on the couches. It just rained, so that's all got to be wet. That's cool. I don't think I've seen that before. Huh. NoPotUI.org. I guess that's someone arguing that being on weed shouldn't constitute a DUI. Not sure how they could even detect that though, since it is, I think the detection mechanism gives a positive even when you're not under the influence, I guess, or having the psychoactive effect take place.
This whole stuff started with George Floyd, right?
Yeah.
It's like he's the sideline. He's stuck back, you know what I'm saying? Instead of being on front there.
Oh yeah. Oh, this thing was here when they were having the protest. So it used to be the police line was like right there across that street.
Okay.
And so this was like kind of like the closest place to the police line where the protesters were.
Is that why it's here this way instead of out on the front streets here?
Yeah, the front streets were just pretty packed with like protesters.
Okay. Yeah. At first I was watching it, you know, on the news and stuff when it was downtown Seattle. And then, I mean, I've been out here now a couple weeks. I'm a missionary, so I came to give encouragement and, you know, help them to do the peaceful protesting part.
Yeah, it's changing quite a bit over time.
Yeah, that's what I've been told.
Yeah, I've been filming it since they had the riots. So, like, I did not observe the initial protests.
You did not what?
I didn't observe the initial protests. I just observed the riots which happened downtown, and that's when I started to, like, wonder what was going on, and then I just started filming everything since then. But yeah, this area here has like evolved a lot. The security people are now gone and the medics are now gone. They were...
Do you know what one of the people inside there told me why the medics are gone and the doctors?
I've heard reasons, but you know, I don't know.
Did you want to hear what I was told?
Oh yeah, sure.
They said that they had found that, I don't know what all this means. means to y'all in the city, because I'm not from here. I'm a missionary, and I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. But they said it was because they started learning that they could not trust the medics, and that they created their own. And I mean, that's what I was told.
I've heard a bunch of different reasons.
They were doing stuff that they were like insider info people instead of really doing their medics, you know. So
I could imagine. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot. Like, it's like when the normal systems go away and people have to just spontaneously form to fill these existing functions.
Yes.
It's like, how does that happen? It happens sloppily, and it seems like there was a lot of kind of complexity and weird stuff happening.
I was really, mostly attracted to his. If he's the same one, the other day he was down there. He doesn't really even have drums or anything, right? I don't know what he's playing on today, right? But the other day he had a long square pipe and another. I mean, not even things that were musical
yeah, I've seen that guy.
Yeah, and I'm thinking it's the same one, and I'm like, it looks like he's playing on a. I mean, I don't know, unless he did, take a drum now, because a lady that up there that they play every now and then. I sing, trumpeter plays. You got a guitarist and a
the guy on the guitar is really cool.
Yeah, and you got a female that actually lives out here in this community, and she plays drums, but somebody stole two of her.
Oh.
So I don't know what he's playing, but it sounds good.
There's been sort of little crime problems.
Well, and they think it's from outside, people.
Yeah, I noticed that it seemed like midway through Juneteenth, that's when a lot of incidents started happening, and I've heard a lot of people have that idea that it's from outside, and that seems plausible to me. A lot of people see this place on the news and want to come here.
Yeah, and they're trying to make it look like it's the peaceful protesters. Doing this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the protester word is interesting because it's got this like common meaning that if you're a protester, you're nonviolent. But I find it kind of confusing because one of the things people will say is that as one of the demands is that they want the protesters released. But I'm not sure who these people are, because the only people I'm aware of who got arrested are people who are on like videotape setting police cars on fire and things like that.
To my knowledge, that's not true. Some of the young fellows that I've been trying to minister to do positive stuff, the trumpeter guy, he lost 2 female friends in this protest that were, from what I've been told, on the peaceful side. And one of them was hit with, what do they call that, a flash bang?
Oh yeah, there's a video of that.
One girl was hit with a flash bang, and then I don't know if that was the same girl that ended up in the emergency ambulance, and then these are things that I was told. And then the police threw a tear gas or bomb, whatever that other thing is called.
Those flashbangs.
No, not something above pepper spray.
Oh yeah, the tear gas, the canisters.
Into the ambulance, and the girl died. Of a cardiac or whatever. Whatever happens with all that, she died. She couldn't breathe. And then the other female girl.
I feel like I would need verification of that, because for a police officer to throw a tear gas canister into an ambulance.
That's what I want to know too.
Yeah,
unless it was accidental.
I don't believe that
unless it was accidental.
Yeah.
But these people live here, and they say that's why they're so upset with the police department and want it, in their terms, defunded. I'm like, you can't have a police department defunded, maybe reformed.
Yeah.
But not.
You need
anyway,
to.
They mean business. They want it defunded, but they clearly said they threw it into, and then the other girl died also. So that's why some of them, they've literally told me to my face they're literally willing to die for this cause that they believe in. Seriously, and these are young fellas that have a whole life before them.
So I'm only aware of one death, which is the guy who's got the memorial over there, who got shot in the field a couple nights ago. That one's also on tape.
It was on tape?
Yeah. They've got like a security camera up on one of these buildings or something.
But I was here, I heard the shot, and people came running through our camps and told us. I wasn't afraid because I know that my life is in God's hands, but somebody said that was either riot related or an instigating from outside. These 2 girls that I'm saying that these fellows told me, their friends that died, This was when it was all down in downtown Seattle.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
There was a
Not
whole
here.
different energy when it was downtown. Well, the
That's
riot
what I watched
energy
on the
was.
news. I watched it on Fox.
The riots were crazy. I got people on video just like looting stores, like smashing
I did
windows
too.
and looting
I
stores.
saw it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is just ridiculous. That's not a peaceful protest. A peaceful protest is supposed to be a thing where you have the right to speak what you feel. I've never been to a protest before in my life, but that's what I understand. It's what's supposed to be about. You have the right to speak what you feel,
Yeah.
and then the other side speaks, and then you negotiate and come up with a positive plan.
Yeah, it seems like some of that's been going on. So they have the community meetings here, usually once a day at like around 5 or 6 p.m. they start, and people. Yesterday was kind of cool. I participated. There was these speech circles where it was like they broke the big group into these small circles, and there was a note taker. I went to the security group, people concerned about security. And there was also short-term plans, long-term plans, and vibes, they called it, like how people felt. Yeah, but then afterwards they summarized it, and it seemed like it was pretty effective. And one thing I've noticed is a couple days ago, like the day of that shooting, like the day before the night where the shooting happened on the field, there was a big, like, hour-and-a-half long debate where, like, lots of fights broke out over the police station and the decision of whether or not to break into it or not. And it seemed to me like that created consensus that, no, we're not going to do that. But then what I've observed in the community meetings is that consensus doesn't exist anymore, so I'm not really sure whether or not that's going to happen. It seems like a terrible idea to me. Like, I don't think people should do that. That seems like that would be the beginning of the end of this place.
Going into the precinct?
Yeah.
Well, I actually had the positive opportunity of talking to, I won't say whether it's male or female, we'll just leave that part blank, 2 individuals. But one of them, at least I know, means very well, but you know, they're the ones that said they were willing to die for this cause. But anyway, so I said to them, and they're like, well, it's unlocked. I said, don't you understand that's a trap? They want you to go in.
Yeah.
I said, because when you go in their precinct, you are totally, not just on the sidewalk of where their property is, but you are in their building.
Yeah.
And they will come after you. I said, there's a positive way to do this. And I said, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just here as a missionary of encouragement to encourage you to do the right things. I said, but I really am highly suggesting don't do that. You know what I'm saying?
It sounds funny, but there is a high and unquestioned belief from the part of the protesters in the restraint of the police, the SPD, which sounds kind of crazy, right? Since the root thing which kicked all this off was George Floyd, which was a demonstration of not restraint.
Right.
But like, people were bringing homemade riot shields, and what I observed is the pattern of the police is they'd have the line of the police with their see-through riot shields. They'd all have their Glocks, their service gun, and then behind them was a bunch of SWAT people armed with AR-15s, and then behind that was an armored car with one of those little pop-up things. So the police, it's like just in case anyone brought any heavy weaponry or something.
Yeah.
So the police have an infinite ability to escalate, and the police have the capability to kill everyone, like, within a short amount of time. But there's total trust that the police won't do that because people are bringing, like, homemade riot shields to I don't know, in case for pepper spray and umbrellas and stuff like that. So it's like people really do have this, like, belief in the restraint of the police within that bound, but not within the bound of, like, what triggered everyone in Minneapolis or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why I find this also fascinating, like, trying to understand how people feel and think.
Right, and you got 2 sides to it. I could give you some bad sides of a police department, but I can also tell you the excellent side. My uncle was a chief of police. He's deceased now. But even still to this day, in his death in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I am from, all you have to do is mention his first or his last name, or if they find out, which is what happened of how I got this information, somebody heard my last name one day and they're like, oh, are you related to Sam? And I said, yes. And they just, the whole, like, city council, the mayor's office, all of them have nothing but high regard for him because they are the ones that, you know, that's how chiefs get hired, right?
One of the ideas I find really interesting is this idea of systemic racism. So people will make the statement that all police are bad because they are participating in a system which is bad.
I don't believe that.
But To me, it just seems like, okay, so there's like 10 million something police encounters per year. Definitely, just because of like probability and the complexity of the world, some of those situations the police needed to be there.
Right.
And then some of those situations resulted in terrible things,
Right.
like what this memorial is all about. But it doesn't seem like there can be a black and white judgment about the police like that.
My uncle has the reputation. He did not tolerate a bad police officer. In one setting, from what I was told, he fired 5 police officers, 5 bad police officers for wrongdoing, and he just didn't tolerate it. He also hired a black woman when that was unheard of. First of all, to even have a woman on the police force, and then for her to be black. I know the woman, okay? Because as a missionary, she allows me to have, because I'm a nomad, so I go wherever the Lord calls me. I keep a passport and all that, right? And she allows me, like, that's where my mail goes. Because I can't afford to have a home back home and then have to be in hotel, motel, hostel, or wherever the Lord has me.
You gotta have an address.
Yeah, you gotta have an address. And I didn't want to keep a P.O. box because I can't go check it. You know what I'm saying? So anyhow, that's how this happened too. When she learned my last name one day, she goes, "Oh, are you related?" And I went, "Yeah." So she tells me her whole story of, how, he didn't just hire her as a black, but he also hired her as a black woman. Then he advanced her up as a supervisor, which was totally unheard of, And she, like I said, she's just one of the ones. So there are good police officers.
Yeah, I feel like though that the nuance and like that idea, or like having a more nuanced perception of the police, is not present in a lot of protesters. People are highly polarized on it. I sent Jenny Durkin like an email like a couple weeks ago just with some ideas, like, hey, this is kind of a weird thing, but I had a couple ideas. One of them was actually asking if she could bring some barriers and make this into a permanent walking zone. It's like she sort of did that. I was asking for big planters though to make it nicer to look at. But another one though was like
that's good idea about making it a permanent walking distance. That is really cool. Yes.
Yeah, but it could look nicer.
And the planting thing,
Yeah, but another one was like we could and this is gonna, I mean, it's a weird idea, I don't even know if it's practical, but like we could have a barbecue, and it could be like because when the protests were going on, there was firefighters walking around like handing out granola bars and water to people, because no one has any problem with firefighters,
right?
Because they're fighting fire, and there's no potential, like nothing in their line of work could result in anything like this,
right?
But you could have like a barbecue. You could invite like government workers, like firefighters, and they could wear their uniforms. And then you could invite police, give police sort of like a qualified immunity for political opinions expressed outside work, and just get them in a place, sort of around firefighters and other government workers, but in a context where they could like be perceived as people with unique qualities,
yeah, when they're
rather
not on
than
duty, so to speak, but just as a human being that's a family and has a family and all that.
Because the whole plan about abolish the police is totally crazy.
Absurd.
Like,
it's absurd.
You can't have zero police before you have something else in place.
That's right.
From what I've seen here, like, it's necessary for people to fill this function, and it's been so chaotic here because there's been no like real organization. I mean, there's people are trying to organize, and people are trying to like self-identify and form into security groups and teams and coordinate and stuff like that, but
the leaders, or the supposed leaders, and one of them that they said today, he's appointed himself as a leader, but he's the one that carries the guns around and he yells all the time. To my knowledge, he's one of the ones that my first night here that demanded all white people. He didn't say everybody else, or he didn't say, I'm speaking to everybody except the black people. No. He said it, and so did another one, and I spoke up about it because I'm not going to be quiet about something like that. They demanded that all white people give them $10 a piece.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. I think that was on video.
On a Friday and a Monday, and I was like, you know what? I didn't put you in slavery, and why are you asking for just white people to give you $10 and $10 for
Yeah,
what?
I mean, that's on YouTube. There's a guy who gave a speech and asked that. I mean, I've been getting all the speeches.
I don't watch all that stuff. So.
I've been getting all the speeches, and it's like, it's just anyone who wants to get up there and give an idea can do it, and not everyone is equally rational. Like, some of the things people propose are very reasonable, and some of the things people propose are not well thought out.
Yeah.
But the ones that the media cherry picks are obviously the ones that are not well thought out, because they're looking to exploit people's confirmation bias, because people who watch the news are their products. They're selling those people's attention to
That's
advertisers.
Right, they're just doing it to make money.
Yeah, and
Most
so
of them.
if you can amplify emotions, or if you can confirm what someone already believes,
Yeah.
they'll want to come back for more, and then you can sell more ads, which is kind of sad. I mean,
Yeah.
that describes also the existence of Facebook and their whole business model,
I got you.
and why that's such a trauma to society, which is too bad, because people do need to organize through technology into larger social things.
Well, and just simply as a matter of fact, they had three black gentlemen on Fox News that gave statistics, and one of them was a security for Obama and Bush. Okay, Dan somebody, and then some man named something Shelby or Shelby something. He's like a professor. He's written a book. These are all black gentlemen I'm speaking of, and I can't remember the third person. Crump, maybe Crump, maybe Ben Crump. I don't know what his role is, but between the three of those, they said that the statistics of a white officer killing a black man, and it was such a low percentage that has been so escalated. They said more black people kill black people than a white officer kills a black person.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right about that statistic. I've heard that one too.
Well, furthermore, I asked somebody, I said, I guarantee the man that was on his neck was not even a white person. Why do we always get the blame for it? So I had somebody look up on Google the last name, CHAUVAN, and I was right. It's a French name. Because when I looked at him, I even said, that man's not even white.
Yeah,
and he was,
I don't know.
And then you think about it, the others that were on him, an Asian and an African.
Yeah, the guy I feel sorry for in that crowd,
four-day
guy, yeah.
The only white guy. You know,
that guy didn't know what the heck he was doing.
Isn't he the one that even said, hey, can you get off of him? Can't we do something else?
I don't know. I only watched the
said no.
I only watched the video like one time, and I don't remember it that clearly. I don't know if I got through it all
but
either.
I'm just telling you, this is what was said afterwards, because afterwards they would talk about it on Fox, which I think is good. And they always have Republicans and Democrats. They give always a full, and I will tell you that of everything I've watched since I've been here in Seattle waiting on my electric bike to be out of quarantine when our governor lifts so that the manufacturers can go back. But Fox News really has been, to me, the only accurate, you know, with my being here and then with seeing what they do, right?
The ones I've watched is Tucker Carlson, because some of my friends have linked it.
Yes.
But that's not.
He's not. He's
the
like
way,
he's too much. Really.
The way he portrays it is definitely cherry picking and not quite accurate
representation. That's because he don't
representation.
understand. But he actually interviewed, I think, one of those black gentlemen I'm talking about. I think it was actually the professor one, and because he was wanting to understand, you know, he would ask, it would sound like he's making statements, but he's really asking questions, but he's so mad about the whole thing, you know, so it sounds like he's making a statement, you know, but he's really trying to find out from, what is it that they really want, you know, do they want, you know, defund? And,
yeah,
you know,
one thing that Tucker Carlson has done, which bugs me, is he's shown people who are mentally ill, who are here, who are like living here, and kind of represented them and specific like clips of their behavior as like a normal thing here, and that's not quite right.
I just spoke to some people on the other side of the precinct because I heard a couple of them talking, and in my being out and about, I've heard others that are on the news and all that, and this is what they try to portray. So I said to these people over there, that woman might be, the black lady might still be here, because I know she was in the conversation, and a lot of people here can't stand her. I do not know her name. She's got a fro about out to here. But to the white woman that I saw back there, I said, would y'all make it abundantly clear that these are not a bunch of homeless people that are living out here? I said, there are a lot of people out here. I said, now I'm a nomad, I'm a missionary. I said, but there are a lot of people that are living out here that are very sophisticated and professional people.
Well,
and
yeah,
they
but
have
there's
homes.
also a huge bunch of drug users over there.
I don't know all that. You know,
well, they're over, like, there's the tents and there's the garden. Those are sort of the normal people in there. Like, past that, like, especially back in that corner, it's like...
Not so. I was one of them. I was at the very end.
Well, if you go there at night, I saw tons of people, like, smoking, like, crack.
You're right. There is a new group that came in just like days ago. But I was one of them. I kind of stayed to myself. Even though Camilo, the trumpeter, invited me to be with them, but because I can't take smoke of any form, I know it's legal in y'all's state here to smoke marijuana, but I can't be even around all of that. So I just stayed to myself in the middle of the field at the back.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, the thing is, it's like the police aren't here, so a bunch of people are moving in, not because they're part of the Black Lives Matter, but because they live on the streets and they live in tents and they need somewhere to live, and now this is a place where they won't get hassled. So that explains some of it. But then a lot of people are just like, there's like hippies that want to support this thing.
Yeah, and
not necessarily
professional
hippies, but you know,
like,
I mean, they're making a garden, so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, because one of the girls that was sort of like over here, and then I was over here. We kind of, you know, even smokes. I haven't seen him do any of that mess, you know, either. But I don't know what the rest do or whatever. But anyway, that one girl, I mean, that's all she was there for in our group. She strictly, it was the garden at the very back, up on the hill one. You know, she helped, you know, I mean, because I saw that go from green grass to what it is back there.
Yeah, I've been getting updates on that every couple days, just checking it out.
Yeah, there's three gardens now, actually. You know, so, but yeah, and you know, you could tell she seemed professional and sophisticated to me. Not that.
Yeah, some people do.
And this is the message.
Some people don't. There's a huge diversity of people here, both in terms of race and mental stability and everything else. Everything else under the sun. Everyone's here.
This is the message that one of the girl that plays the drums up there that lives out in this area, and I were voiced, and I said, not that I am saying, because I said, nobody put words in my mouth. I said, whenever I'm interviewed, I make it very clear. Do not mince my words and do not edit it such that, because I've had it happen to me that way before, and it took one time, you know, and I'm not just looking to be on TV, radio, or newspaper. I've been in it all. You know, I'm trying to help our world to understand how to reform the police department, not defund it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely need training, because there's definite clear statistics which show specific outcomes are correlated with race, but training costs money.
Right, but what I was saying, and that drummer lady was too, and you could tell she's professional as well. But I said, there's a lot of talk that they're trying to say, just like you said, Tucker did, that everything out here in tents are just the homeless, you know, and so they're trying to make it look even more stupid and unsophisticated and what's that word, like mumbo jumbo, whatever.
Yeah.
I said, but I know for a fact, because I've met people that are from Seattle that have homes that are, because we were all in the same camp, you know, and they have homes and they're educated people. I said, and then you come up to where the garden is, some of those people have homes too.
Yeah.
You know.
One thing too, that like when this place was super dense with people, it sort of did take on a party vibe for like some days.
Okay.
And I think that was driven by everyone stuck at home, and now there's something going on in your neighborhood. So it became Coachella for a few days. And that's when there's sort of a negative response to that. Just people on loudspeakers saying this is not Coachella or whatever. But it's just, I don't know, there's a lot here. It's complicated. There's all sorts of issues too. So it's like BLM and this stuff is like the main issue, but there's all sorts of other issues coming along with that. Like Kasama, the Congress lady, she's given a couple speeches here. I got those on tape too. And she's big into, she's the Tax Amazon person who started that.
The what?
Tax Amazon.
Okay.
Amazon's the largest employer. They lease or own the majority of office space in all of Seattle. So they're an enormous company. And Kasama wants to she did put a head tax on them, but it got repealed and now she wants it back. They basically want, I think it's like 0.75%, something like that, per job. They want to tax job creation, which no one really does that, because like you tax cigarettes because you want to get rid of them. You don't tax things you want more of. But yeah, she's in that constellation of issues idea. She's really brought in like the evils of capitalism is one thing she likes to talk about, and she likes to like conflate the three, what I think are sort of not totally combined, like linked issues, but she likes to conflate gentrification, capitalism, and racism as being sort of like one glob of things, which are not very separate. But yeah, I noticed like after she gave her speeches, those were pretty popular on the field. A lot of people in the speaking circles we're talking about that stuff. And people are expressing some, in the speaking circles and community meetings too, people express some pretty complicated and subtle ideas, and there's lots of thoughtful discussion, but there's also some like really dumb ideas being floated, and I feel like those are the ones that the media cherry picks because it supports their narrative of this is crazy town.
Do you know what I'm thinking these were reporters that had gone to Minneapolis, and you know how bad it was in Minneapolis. They burned a daggum precinct down.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what they told me? They said this is worse. They said this is more chaotic than anything else you can even imagine. And they said we spent the whole time recording and reporting in Minneapolis, and they said this was far worse. That from Seattle, I guess downtown or whatever, to this, they said it's far worse and far more divided than Minneapolis ever was.
I saw this guy was here the other day. He's on this YouTube channel, All Gas No Brakes. He's a parody type person, but he visits areas where things are not functioning well. Like, he went to Minneapolis and was like interviewing people who were setting buildings on fire, and he was here the other day, so he's gonna have an interesting video pretty soon.
This according to trumpeter Camilo, because he asked, they wanted to interview me, and he said you're in great hands, because I won't let just anybody interview me either, because of that, editing and making it be words that you haven't even said. But he said you're in good hands, and he heard the whole interview, and they call me Mama out here for whatever reason, but he said that was a great interview. But it was those two guys, I can't think of what they are right now, but he said they are a national and a positive news team, but I just don't know what they call themselves, but they're the ones that told me that.
An interesting group, because you're why am I blanking on the word, missionary?
Missionary of encouragement.
Yeah, there was the Black Hebrew Israelites here the other day.
Really?
Yeah, they were. I didn't know what they were. I thought they were Jewish, so I was like speaking into my camera, and I was saying like, oh, okay, I'm gonna look these guys up later. And then I looked up their Wikipedia page, and I hadn't even heard of these guys before, but it was interesting because like I just went up to a group of 3 of them, and I talked to them, and I said, hey, your outfits are very unique. Like, what is your group, and what's your message?
Did they have on the white long or mid?
They were purple.
Oh, I didn't see them.
And they were
then.
like deep, like royal purple.
I didn't see that.
And like gold and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, that's interesting. There.
Well, what's your name? I'm Deborah.
I'm Seth.
Seth, great to meet you.
Yeah.
So you're a local, huh?
Yeah, I live a couple blocks away. So I've been coming down here every day and just getting like raw footage and uploading it to YouTube. I've uploaded like 400 gigabytes of stuff.
I met Armando. Do you know him? He's a local, and that was, I think, one of the first days that I came, and so he was, pretty uptight about all this, and I met another fellow that's a local that lives like catty corner there.
A lot of the locals are uptight. They're actually suing the city right now.
Well, the positive that happened with that was I ran into both of them that morning, and they were all like this. But then I said, well, why don't we just go around and start doing our own interviewing and asking people, well, what is this about, and what are your... So that's how we got into the camps. And that's how I met Camilo and Jesse and BB. Those are the ones that they're on security for, whatever. And Rio and, and then James, who I told you has a home, and, and Camilo and all of them, right? And so it started off with the bunch of clashing between Armando and them, because he just could not figure out, why are y'all here? Sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo to me.
Yeah, the BLM people disassociated from the tent people for the most part. I'd heard, like in speeches, people were saying they're not with us.
Well, when he finally understood, because he kept saying to them, he goes, look, Jack, I'm paying taxes to live here, and we can't even get in and out of our own streets. But when he heard the heart, especially of Camilo, okay, he's the white ponytailed guy, and he plays the trumpet beautifully. He's got a good heart, and he means well. He might be getting a little sidetracked, but he means well. You know what I'm saying? His dad, he said his granddaddy was a protester, like for trying to get liquor legalized.
That's
So
funny.
it comes from a family of knowing this, and I've never been to a protest in my life, right?
Yeah.
But anyhow, anyway, when Armando finally understood where they were coming from, it was like a whole. All of a sudden, you see three men just kind of like love one another.
Yeah, I've seen so many instances of that.
Yeah.
And definitely
neat.
that's not on the news. It's like, okay, big old melting pot of everyone in this 6 blocks, and that's happening.
I'll tell you one thing, it's chillier than it has been. And all when before the riots started, all of my Red Uphill Provisions gear, because I have an electric bike and have the 2 Italian bags, and then my center bag was all of my camping. Whenever I had to be at a campground, the whole daggone bag was stolen the night before all the riots and stuff started. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a cold. I got on merino wool, but they stole my North Face sleeping bag.
There's that. I don't know if it's still here. There was a take some or leave some shop where people could pick up supplies.
I don't do something unless it's new, bro.
Oh.
I'm not. I don't know who's slipping stuff.
Yeah, that's a point.
Yeah, I just don't do all that. I have a lot of allergies, but plus, I'm real particular.
Yeah.
But if it's new and left, that's a different story.
Yeah, me too.
But
I have kind of fabric sensitivity, so if I
Yeah.
get new
It
clothes,
burns.
it's annoying. That's all I can think about for.
It burns my skin. I
until I
can't
get
even
used
have
to
a Patagonia
Oh.
because of that. Like touching that right there burns my skin.
That's the down.
Yeah. But anyhow, I'm like, wow, it's a little bit chillier tonight. So I don't think they're little new. Because Camilo, he set me up with. They had a new tent already and a couple of sleeping bags, but they're like $10 Walmart things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Sleeping bags, there's a huge difference, and the ones with the really warm material, that's expensive material.
The only good thing I got going for me is I got something sort of like the egg crate thing.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, whoever left that?
Nice.
But yeah, like I said, I just noticed today it feels like, to me, like snow weather.
Yeah, it's a little colder today. It was hot
Yeah.
yesterday, and
They've even got a
Most of
fire
last
going
week.
up there at the precinct.
Oh,
Not
that's
in
funny.
it, but
yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
But again, I just want you to know that I helped talk them out of going into the precinct. I'm not kidding you. I was really thankful to
I was
God
there.
I was there.
I videotaped the whole thing.
Oh no, this was not yesterday.
Ah.
No, this was.
This wasn't when the fights all broke out and all
No,
that.
this was last
I'm sure
week.
there's been like multiple instances
This
of
was
this.
last week before people decided, okay, well we'll just be at the precinct, not in it, because they were like,
Yeah.
they-
I'm glad people decided that.
well, because their mentality was, they said, but it's unlocked. I said, do you not understand that it's unlocked for a reason? They want you to go in there. I said, because if you go in there, I said, that is their building that they pay rent to even be in there as a police department. You can't go in somebody's space like that. You can't do that, and
Yeah.
it's just not proper,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm glad people have been not going in there. At least so far. But at least they're coming back pretty soon, according to a 3-second Jenny Durkin clip. But they won't say when. But I'm sure when they do come back, it's going to be at like 3 a.m. That's when they left, is like in the middle of the night like that. Like after they did the tear gas on everyone that Sunday night. Right after that, they hastily boarded up everything. They were boarding it up before then. They were getting ready, and then they just left in the middle of the night. I think it was a good move, because Jenny Durkin said it was for de-escalation, and it definitely seems like, there's intention and effect, but in this case, the intention and the effect were the same. The intention was de-escalation, and the effect did seem to be actually de-escalation. So it does seem like it was the right thing to do.
Over it? No, they didn't. It's down there. This is where the whole shit had started, bro. Boy, it really happened there, but then we didn't start pushing back.
I guess I'm gonna go get an art update, and then I'm gonna get a garden update.
Okay, art updates. You talking about at that table?
I just like to film all the new art here
Oh,
that I
yeah.
see, and then
Have you seen over on the other side there, the picture? Somebody did an all right picture of George Floyd. If you want to.
yeah, I think I know exactly when you're
It's
talking
ju-
about. It's got the
it's-
letters around there, around his
No,
head, or
I
it's a
don't
different
think
one.
so. It's just a big, looks like a big piece of board,
Huh.
and he's right in the very center, and there's nothing else on either side
I
of
saw
it.
that. Yeah, I don't
But
know.
if you want to-
I'll check it out.
Well, and if you want to, it's up on the other side of this block, right?
Okay.
It just goes center down, and it's going to be. They put it under green tarp now, but it's
Oh.
still standing upright because they tried to put it by my tent, right?
Oh.
And I was like, you can't do that, bro. It's going to fall on me, you know.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if I've seen that one or not. Yeah, I've been.
Okay.
Last time I was here was like last night, so I've
yeah,
been.
you might because it looks like
checking
somebody did it in charcoal. Is what I'm trying to get at.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I definitely have not seen that one.
Okay.
But that is
I
pretty
gotta
chilly.
get my fire.
It was good talking to you.
You too, sir. Seth.
Yeah.
Take care. But anyway, you go up to the blinking light here, and then take a right, and it'll be right, down towards the
Yeah,
end,
one of my favorites
right before the bathroom.
is that one over there with the eye up on the. It's like there's a picture in the reflection of the eye.
Where?
It's
Can you
like
point
that
to
guy
me?
in the blue shirt over there is standing in front of it. That's one of the most
Oh, really?
detailed, interesting ones to me, I think.
I've walked by it many times.
All right, I'll see you around.
Okay, yes, Seth.
She's very nice. Sounds like the guy who had he's seems to be an organizer. He had the interesting perspective, the financial perspective, and the police station debate I was filming.
So it's really like geared towards everyone.
Okay, this is new. For people. I'll take a loop around this border. That's kind of new. That's the social, it's a combination of identities and social ranking thing right there. It's a really interesting thing. Words of wisdom, someone filled it in from yesterday. It's a dragon over there facilitating that meeting. Learned that's the name of the 54 years young man. Keep referencing it, but the guy who's like if he wasn't there, basically the police station would have gotten broken into that one day. Good check. The Chop Legal booth right there. That seems cool. I think it's not, they do one of those, it's not legal advice disclaimers, but people who know about law, a lot of people have misconceptions. It's good to understand how that stuff works. It's a tent. Film a tent. it says something. Does it say something there? Jeez, that's so funny. I really love this one too. That's one of my favorites. Yeah, and the chop people park where they want to. He's got his Civic parked up over there in the field. Oh, that's new. Yeah, I can totally seen this artist before. Be whatever you want to be. I love that. Alright, should maybe try to get a garden update. I didn't run into Travis yesterday. Not many people on the field. I guess that's all wet. You can't really sit there. Huh. That one's gotten all sorts of stuff on there. Yeah, it was raining a lot earlier. Alrighty. I'm going to put it on pause, see if I can film the garden. Hey, garden update. Yeah, I always like to ask and just let people know what I'm doing. Okay, people should be fine in this tent. This is a greenhouse nursery type of idea right here. Oh, that's very cool. And potatoes with the irrigation system, the elevated non-potable water jugs. Got the little greenhouse for the getting, what do you call it, when you get new seeds going. The area in the middle is pretty cool. They've been adding to that. Last time I saw it, it had a couple of those. Now it's got more. It's got these extra ones. The little meeting center. Just kind of loop around. Gotten most of this one before. Huh, that's cool. The I like the sparkly things up on top. That's actually functional. That'll keep birds away. What is that? Is that spinach? That's spinach right there. Oh, this is kind of neat. It's like got the soil in the middle. It's just like chicken wire and hay to make sort of like a basket. It's like the dirt won't kind of leak out when it gets watered. And then this is like a bunch of sticks. This looks like mulch right here. And then, okay, this isn't in the direction of anything here, just a wall. It's kind of like supplies. They got chicken manure for fertilizer. The tons of information too. A couple more of these non-potable water jugs. arriving. Like, I don't remember the stand being here the other day. Maybe it was. Seems to be more of those though. Alright, I want to get the we're doing a compost with like food waste over here. Some gravel here too. Still don't see any chickens though. That looks like a chicken coop right there. Yeah, composting with food scraps. Cool. I'm gonna pause it while I get out of here. Alrighty, out of the tent area. That's the garden update. Okay. Still growing. Still quite a few people living in the tent area. It's a little more sparse, I bet. Quite a few people, well, it seems like quite a few people relocated up to the tent area. Actually, I'll go, well, nah, I guess I'm good for today. Yeah, these are funny too. There's no real trash service to these bins, so people relocate them. Sign says where to take the trash. Back of the sculpture, I guess you call that. Good aim. Funny. Hey. Seems like there's not less people here than last time. Maybe this is the stable state of the area. And oh yeah, I filmed the memorial. Yeah, yesterday when I filmed that, guy like half a block away told me not to. Just gonna avoid that. Seems to be the most sensitive to filming. It's that thing. Saturday. I saw pretty unusual. Yeah. So a bunch of police here. This is like 2 blocks from the CHAZ. I don't know why they're here. Doesn't really seem like anyone's reacting though. Seems notable. Seems like not long ago that would have triggered a major issue.